So basically in the part of reciprocating pump, so it is a pump in which the mechanical energy is converted into hydraulic energy by the system of suction inside the cylinder due to piston. Okay, so basically a piston is a reciprocating inside the cylinder, exerts the thrust on the liquid and increase its hydraulic energy. And the reciprocating pump consists of a cylinder with a piston, a suction pipe, a delivery pipe, and a suction valve and the delivery valve. So all the major parts of the reciprocating we had discussed. So let's see that forward. We discussed already this negative slip and all. Now next topic in the part of reciprocating pipe we have the indicator diagram we have for the reciprocating pump. Let's see that what is this. So in the indicator diagram there is a the indicator diagram for a reciprocating pump is defined as the graph between the pressure head in the cylinder and distance traveled by the piston from the inner head center for one complete revolution of the crank. So here you see a diagram between the stroke length and the pressure head. So here show you the complete cycle taking place. So here the suction stroke is taking place. Actually, it is the crank movement inside this cylinder and the piston. Both the all the things working together to generate the suction inside the cylinder to to uplift the to generate the water pressure, uplifting of the water towards the discharge. We have this is the again the things has been repeated as it is as the name suggests, that is reciprocating. All the things got repeated after a complete cycle, the things will be repeated once again. So let's see that from ideal indicator diagram without considering the friction. So it is assumed that there is no friction inside. So we can prove that the work done by the pump is proportional to the area of the indicator diagram. So by this diagram, we're trying to understand how it works. Okay, next we see the effect of acceleration in the sectional delivery pipe on indicator. So we have some equations. So the pressure head due to acceleration in the suction pipe is equals to HAS is equals to LS upon G into A upon AS into W square R cos theta, where theta is equals to 0, we are assuming 0, and HAS is equals to LS upon G into A capital A upon AS into W square R. Now where theta we are taking it as 90 degree, then we have, so height we are assuming at 0. When theta is equals to 180, then we have the values changes. So HAS is equals to minus under bracket LS upon G into A upon AS into W square R. Okay, in this bracket now there is some change in the values. Okay, there's an inclination taking place from 0 to 90, and then after we move towards 180 degree. So that is the delivery stroke. So this graph between the stroke length and the pressure head showing you some changes inside the reciprocating pump, all the working together of the piston and piston working inside the cylinder and generating the suction for the water uplifting. Okay, then the pressure head says the starting of suction is equals to HS plus HAS, that we know. So end of suction is equals to HS minus HAS, and the starting of delivery is equal to SD plus HAD. So end of the delivery is given by SD minus HAD. Okay. And further we have another graph between. pressure head and the stroke length. So that will be showing you the length of suction inside the cylinder. Okay, the things is working. So this was the height and this was the total length between the cylinder that has been shown by means of this graph. Then we have the air vessel. So air vessel, let's see that. An air vessel is a closed chamber containing the compressed air in the top portion and the liquid at the bottom of the channel. An air vessel is fitting to the suction pipe and to the delivery pipe at a point closer to the cylinder of the reciprocating pump. So this is the one more fitting attachment inside the suction pump and the working of the air vessel. We have some points. So air vessel is fitted to the suction pipe and to the delivery pipe at the point closer to the cylinder of the reciprocating pump to obtain the continuous supply of liquid at the uniform rate, to save the considerable amount of work, to run the pump at high speed without separation, work done by the reciprocating pump with air vessel. So we have work done per second is given by rho GA ln upon 60 is equals to in bracket HS plus HFS plus HD plus HFD. Now further we have work done against friction without air vessel. We are assuming that inside the cylinder there is a it is frictionless. So we have further we have for the work done a single acting reciprocating pump. We have the equation 2 by 3 into L upon into 4FL upon 2GD in bracket A by 2 WR whole square. Now we have work saved. Work saved is equals to W1 minus W2 upon W1 into 100. So further we have calculating the values we got 84.8%. So work saved in the double acting reciprocating pump. So this was for the single acting reciprocating pump, and for the double acting reciprocating pump, let's see that we get that 39.2%. So next one is the rotary pumps. In the rotary pumps, let's see that in the part of rotary pump we have it is a type of positive displacement pump used mainly for pumping high viscous fluid. So in rotatory type of displacement pumps, the rotary motion is used in place of a reciprocating pump of displacement pump. It consists of a stationary housing in which a power driven unit carrying one or more pumping elements in made to rotate. So there are number of pumps are there, okay, which will be working together to match the discharge. Okay, then further it says the action of pump element which is rotating is not dynamic, but it only displays the liquid from one side to the another. So when actually the pushing action is taking place, so it is displacing the liquid from one side to another side. So continuously the things is going on. So there are some units inside it. Let's see that. So these units have the advantage of both centrifugal and reciprocating pump. So all this arrangement inside the rotatory pump, it has the advantages of centrifugal and reciprocating pump in terms of uniform discharge of centrifugal pump and high pressure and positive displacement of reciprocating pump. So it is having various advantages. So let's see that rotatory pumps are used for cooling water and pressure oil to be supplied for lubrication to motor and turbines. So this is used in some applications given to in in the cooling water and pressure oil supply for the lubrication purpose inside the motors and turbines it is used. And for further we see the rotatory pumps includes screw pumps, vane pumps and gear pumps. So these are some examples for rotatory pumps. Let's see about something about the gear pumps. So in gear pump, what it is, how it is, the rotatory pumps works. Let's see that the gear pumps is a rotatory pump in which the two gears meshes to provide the pumping action. One of the gear is keyed to the driving shaft. The other gear revolves due to driving gear. The space between teeth and the casing is filled with oil. The oil is carried around between the gears from the suction pipe to the delivery pipe. Now, the oil pushes into the delivery pipe cannot return back into the suction pipe due to the meshing of the gear. So there are some arrangement when they are moving. So it will be just by means of this diagram you can see. So this is the meshing gear wheel you see here that is rotating. Okay. So two wheels are together working. Okay. And this is the casing you can see around it and closing, and this is the suction. Okay, from this is suction, this is the delivery pipe you can attach here, and the things will be moving. Okay, this is the floor and this is a driver. So once the driver will rotate, so this will start rotating also because they are in contact by means of the gear. Okay, so this is a gear pump. You can just observe the figure. So this is a meshing gear wheel. It is called a gear pump. So as you see in the diagram, so there are two gears mentioned. Okay, and one of the gear is keyed to the driven shaft. So there are keys been made. You can see here, number of keys are there. Okay, so so driving shaft, that is the driving shaft is attached and that will be start rotating as it is in touch. So other gear revolves due to the driving gear. So as they are, when it will rotate, so all the gears will locked inside and it will start rotating. If one will start, the another will also start rotating. The space between the teeth and the casing is filled with oil. So this lubrication is provided. The oil filled between the two layers of the gear to avoid such any friction inside. Okay, so so oil is carried around between the gears from the suction pipe to the delivery pipe. The oil pushes into the delivery pipe, cannot return back into the suction pipe due to the meshing of the gear. So it will just start there, it will remains here, and the meshing action will stop the movement of oil, but it will allow the suction, and the system will start working inside the gear pump. Further we see, we'll see some videos also of this all these pumps, and then the things will be more clear. Okay, so further we have theoretical discharge of oil. In the calculation part, we have theoretical discharge of oil. So that is given by the volume of oil per revolution into number of revolution in 1 second. So you can just explain theoretically by this in this by this equation. It is given by theoretical discharge of oil pump is equals to 2 ALN into N upon 60, where A is the area enclosed between the two suction teeth and casing, and Ln is the axial length of teeth, and N is the speed of rotation gear in RPM or revolution per minute. Then N is the number of teeth in each gear. Okay. Further, a definite quantity of oil depending upon the size and the shape of the gear, thus raised with each revolution.